campuses all across the country. What we're going to do is we're going to have Mike Schultz come up and he's going to talk about the signing class, and then after that we will leave open a time for questions and answers from the media. And at this time I'm going to introduce our head football coach, Mike Schultz.
Uh, it's an exciting day. It always is on National Signing Day. We're excited about what the student athletes that we have committed to come here. I think the first thing I need to talk about is the staff. I cannot tell you what a great job they did. They have been relentless in recruiting. Sometimes it turns into a 24/7 job, and that's what they did. They did a great job. They've been relentless in it. There's no doubt it was easy to build a little bit on the momentum coming off the season. It's a lot easier to recruit to a 7-5 with a trip to the playoffs versus a 2-9 situation. So, it was great to build off of that momentum that we established during the year. Recruiting is still about meeting needs and filling holes. And right now we had some holes to fill. When we look at where we were offensively, we lost 5 receivers, 1 quarterback, and 1 offensive lineman to graduation. Defensively, we lost 5 defensive backs, 1 linebacker, and 1 defensive end to graduation. So we had some holes we needed to find. I think we got a very nice blend of junior college players, transfer student athletes, and high school student athletes that are now committed to come to Lamar University. With that being said, I'd like to get into the signing class. I think I'm going to start off talking about offense first. The first place I want to go, and we hadn't talked about this young man too much. We signed a transfer quarterback by the name of Will McBride out of League City. He was at the University of Tennessee. He is on campus as we speak right now in our off-season program. This young man has 3 years of eligibility left. We're excited about what we think he brings in the future. As far as a young man, a young student athlete, Jeremy Givens, is from Mesquite Horn in the Metroplex. Very athletic, very fast, extremely good athlete. He's our type of quarterback. He's a dual threat guy. With that being said, there were some holes we needed to fill at receiver. We have a commitment from a young man by the name of Kenny Allen. He was at East Los Angeles Junior College last year. Kenny is very fast, very fleet, very fast. So, along the lines of always trying to recruit bigger, stronger, faster, we are still in that mode. Along with him, we took another young man out of California JCs named Ryan Metlock. Ryan is an extremely fast athlete. He has track times that are what I call fully automatic times. That's got him down in the low 10.6, high 10.7s or low 10.7s. So he's a very strong, a very fast, athletic young man. He's 6 foot, maybe 6'1". He's got decent length. We're excited about him being here. You get into the big guys. Nick Dumas is here. He is out of Gulf Coast, Mississippi Junior College. Again, this young man is 6'3", probably 310 pounds, 315 pounds. He's a big kid. He's athletic. He can run. We feel like with Garrett Bowery, graduating, All-American, this is a kid that may be able to come in and give us immediate help up front. The good news about the offensive line, everybody else was back. We did sign some kids that were our student athletes that were freshmen that we're very excited about, starting off with a young man here in town by the name of Donovan Edwards. Very athletic, played for Westbrook High School, can run, good grades. There's a lot that we feel that he brings to the table. Moving to a young man in Springtown, which is up in the Metroplex, Alexander Frithroff. Okay, that's a tough one for me to say. He's a big kid, 6'5", 315, 320. Again, this kid at one time was actually committed to SMU. Something happened late in the recruiting process, and we were able to snag him. And again, this was one of our young men from the earlier signing period. Another young man that we got is a kid by the name of Ted Melson, another big guy, 6'3", 305. He's from St. Augustine in New Orleans. Very athletic, and again, that still all is staying the same. You know, they're big, fast, and strong. You know, going bouncing back up to Donovan Edwards, a young man that is here in town, you know, he will come in and bench press well over 300 pounds. And that's the type of student athlete we're looking for to come in here and put in place. When you talk about defense, again, we had, you know, right at five defensive backs graduate. We had one defensive lineman graduate, and then one linebacker graduated. So there were immediate holes in places that we needed to have filled. Starting with the defensive line, we took two out of junior college, Davian May and Kirsten Williams. Davian is from Mississippi Gulf Coast Junior College. Kirsten is from Blinn Junior College. You know, hopefully if things work out, maybe one of those young men, we may be in a position to redshirt. You know, if things go out well and we keep people happy. At the linebacker position, we have Dallas Martin. Dallas is a transfer from Marshall University. Big, athletic, fast linebacker. We're excited about him. This is one guy, all we know, I'll call him as So, because I can't say his last name, but he's from Hawaii. He's out of Snow Junior College. Again, you know, when we get into that type of linebacker, we want young men that are fast, athletic, that are physical, and So meets all those things. Moving on to the back end, which was a huge concern going into the recruiting process. We took one corner, Tariq Anthony. He's from Kilgore College. The great thing we like about Tariq is he has tremendous length. I mean, this student athlete is every bit of 6'2", probably right at 180, 190 pounds, very athletic. He is on campus. He is participating in our off season. We will have him for spring practice. Now, we got into probably the biggest area and the biggest concern going into recruiting was safety. You know, we graduated Ronnie Randall, Devon Jernigan, who was an All-American, Lane Taylor, Tyler Rios, Brandon Dabney, were all kids that were here and no longer, you know, that have graduated. So there was a huge concern in that area. We ended up, there's a young man, we took him in the early signing period by the name of DeQuarius Griffin. He's a young man, he was at Arizona Western, okay? But he is actually a Louisiana native. So, you know, we got him back closer to home. Gerard Alton actually ended up, when he came out of high school, signed with Missouri, bounced back to a junior college at Iowa Western. Gerard is here. It is currently on campus right now, participating in the off season and going to school. And he is going to go through spring, needless to say, with us. Kyron Norwood, really excited about this young man, 5'11", 180 pounds, very fast. We feel Kyron is a kind of a dual threat guy, and when I say dual threat on defense, this is a young man that I think can help us at corner or safety. He's an either-or guy. You know, he's from Pearl River Junior College. He is on campus. He is participating in our off-season workouts, and will go through spring training with us. We're extremely excited about him. Michael Lawson is another young man from California. He was at San Francisco City College. Mike is here on campus. He actually signed with us in the early period. Again, that is a young man that he is here, a student athlete that we look forward to working with this spring. And again, it's going to fill some of the holes that we had to fill in what I call the back end of our defense in the secondary. There are some kids that we signed this morning. Nakota Shepard Creer is a man from Santa Barbara City College. Again, this is another big safety. He's every bit of 6'2", 190, 200 pounds. Very athletic, can run. We're excited about having this young man on campus. He will join us in the summer for the first summer session. Keyshawn Young is a young man that was at Antelope Valley Junior College in California. Keyshawn is actually a Louisiana native. This got him again. This is a young man that was in California junior college system, and now he's brought himself, and he's a lot closer to home. And the last one is a high school young man, student athlete, Anthony Ruffin, another safety. It's good to have a young one in that group. He's 6'1", 190 pounds, very athletic, very physical. You know, we are, you know, and that kind of rounds out the recruiting and our 2019 signees. We're very, very excited about this class. We know, needless to say, as you can well see, we filled a lot of holes that we needed to have filled. You know, like I said, we're going to get some of these kids are here on campus. Some of them will be here at the start of June and will participate in both the first summer session and second summer session going into the year. So with that being said, I'd like to open it up for any questions.
Coach, so, you know, I kind of noticed maybe some of the names that aren't on this list, but a lot of local guys, whether it be, you know, you mentioned Edwards at Westbrook, or, I don't know, Chandler Wells at United, or Jordan Patterson at Kelly. Can you kind of speak to, just a little bit, to the emphasis or any emphasis put on, you know, recruiting Southeast Texas?
You know, our strategy from the very first day I stepped on campus is we want to take care of the triangle. And, you know, we can do that in several different ways. But I think this past weekend we had what we were called our preferred walk-on recruiting weekend. We had over 35 kids in here that were from the triangle in the Houston area. We have several of those guys that are going to take part in today and sign with us. We will continue to put a huge emphasis. You know, we will, like I said, we'll continue to put a huge emphasis on making sure we take care of what we call our own backyard. I can see maybe in the future using a little bit more strategy and maybe getting a little bit more east and getting into Lake Charles, maybe Baton Rouge, New Orleans, what I call the river parishes over in from Baton Rouge to New Orleans and down around the lake, as I call it in New Orleans. So, you know, there's a strategy right now that we're going to push. We actually accomplished that somewhat this signing period, because several of the junior college kids that we signed, you know, actually have homes in Louisiana. So it's been a good deal for us.
Going with the December signing class, trying to talk about it back then, do you like the early signing period rather than have to wait all
Love it.
February?
I love it. And, you know, I don't know if it was really going to catch on like it did. I have not come across another college coach or head coach that is not ecstatic about this. I talked to Seth Luttrell the other day at North Texas. They actually had everybody filled in the early signing day. I talked to Coach Patterson the other day from TCU. Again, I think the expectation of what it was, I think everybody's excited about it. Again, it clears the picture a lot for us. You know, so I think it's been something that's really, really been good for college athletics.
How stressful is a day like today for you? Are you glad to kind of, you know, have this day out of the way and move forward with, you know, spring football and things like that? Or are there some guys still that, you know, you're still looking out where, you know, you don't know whether they're going to sign today or not?
You know, we've still got some kids right now that have some things on the table that we're waiting to hear back. You know, we have what I call what legitimately comes out to as a third period for us to sign, and that usually ends up sometimes in May. And what that does is a lot of FBS schools go through spring training. Kids get disenchanted. You know, the kids from this area want to come back home. You know, and those are kids that we always call them the bounce back guys, you know, that might have gone off and went to a school out of state, and they've gotten out and gone through a couple of springs, and now it's not exactly what they thought it would be, and, you know, they're maybe looking to transfer back and get a little bit closer to home. That is what I call our third signing period. And, you know, I'm not at liberty to say we have several of those kids that we're looking at right now. So.
Coach, was there a theme the kids you did get in front of get to talk about? Did they talk about this winning streak in the playoff game? Was that brought up a lot?
Well, I don't know if the kids talked about it a lot. I know we talked about it a lot. You know, no, it was, you know, that whole deal, yeah, it helped. I mean, it was momentum, it helped. I think, you know, you know, and I've looked at this, I'm just thinking back, you know, the play on Sports Center, the block kick. You know, kids saw that. Kids saw Lamar football on ESPN. You know, they us in the playoffs. You know, yeah, it was a big deal. It's just like I said, we carried the success we had in season, we carried it right into recruiting, and yeah, it made a difference. You know, like I said at the beginning, when you go in and you're recruiting off of a 7-5 season and a trip to the playoffs versus a 2-9 season, and figuring what you're going to do next, it helps a little bit. It helps a lot. You know, we got some things here. You know, like I said, at the FCS level, I can't think of too many schools right now that have a fully operating nutrition center like we do. It is operating. Our kids come in. You know, it's a great advantage for us, number one, but it's a tremendous sell for recruits to come in and go, wow, you know, this is pretty cool. You know, I'm going to get 1,200 calories, you know, by the time I come to the complex and the time I leave the complex, you know. So I really think things like that help, and, you know, we're heading that way. There's going to be some more improvements as we, you know, talk. I think we're on the verge of getting and taking this building and putting in a lot more graphics, you know, that's going to be in the future. So, you know, I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think a year from now we're going to have new turf on our field. So there's a lot of things that are still happening that we're really excited about.
Coach, I know you said that the priority on defense at least was in that secondary.
You bet it was.
Lost a lot of guys obviously back there that were, you know, key playmakers. What about on offense? Was there a priority there?
You know, when Daryl Colbert left, you know, all at once on the portal, this young man named Will McBride comes up from, and he's from South Houston, League City area, and we went back and looked at high school film on him, and it was quite impressive. And then we looked at some of the stuff he did. He actually started against Missouri, and we had highlights of him doing some things against Missouri, against the Southeast Conference team. So, you know, that got to be a situation. And then we found out that he had 3 years of eligibility left. It was just a great fit, you know, and believe me, I love competition, and I want competition, especially at that position, you know, at quarterback. So there's going to be competition. I think we signed some good kids coming. We had some young kids that are still here. You know, Jack Dallas, you know, we'll get him back in the summer. We won't have him much this spring, but we'll get him back in the summer, and I look for, you know, improvement from him. So, you know, you know, offensively, you know, that was one of those deals we just didn't feel like we could turn down. You know, we're still in the process of looking at some receivers. There's some kids out there that, you know, we have targeted that it's just going to take a little bit more time to get through that process. But we've got a few more kids because we did lose, you know, 5 receivers, you know, Dorian, Isaiah Howard, Taylor Givens, Mattel Hawthorne. I'm missing one. Dewan Thompson, DJ. You know, so we lost, you know, a solid group of receivers. So we're still in the process of looking and you know, investigating maybe some transfer young men. And so, I mean, that's a deal that's in process and will go on for quite a while, you know. But the big hit that I think we took was in the back end. You know, you lost Rodney, you lost an All-American safety, Devon Jernigan, Lane Taylor, who started every game for us, who played at a very high level this year. You know, and there's a few more I know. Tyler Rios, you know, I don't know if we had Tyler Rios penciled in as a starter, but the bottom line, Tyler Rios started a lot of games for us. You know, so I mean, we lost all those kids, and you know, we had to get probably more mature kids, and I think we did that. I mean, I like those big, tall safeties. I mean, we got two of them that are 6'2", 6'3", out of California. Deshaun Young is, just like I said, he's a Louisiana kid. He's 2 hours from here. Now, he was all the way out in the Antelope Valley, and I'm sure y'all don't know where Antelope Valley is, but it's a little bit northeast of Los Angeles. You know, so, but he's back home. And then we took Dakota Shepherd-Cree is another big, tall safety that we got, 6'3", almost 200 pounds, you know. And our safeties, the way we run our defense and play the 4-2-5, those student athletes that are in there that have safety on their jersey or on their name, I mean, they have to be physical kids that play inside the box. And I think we were able to hopefully match what we lost. Oh, we are very, very close. We are down to, here's what happened, and let me explain this. We got to the point on that position that I felt like it was something we could put on the back burner because recruiting became a much, much heavier priority than the offensive coordinator job was at the time. You know, we're not going to change the offense. We're still going to be a up-tempo, you know, RPO type offense. We're going to do the, you know, we're not going to change the terminology. So we're just looking actually for a guy to come in and help us call plays. So with that in mind, I felt like we were in a position that we could kind of put that on the back burner just a little bit. Now, we will be closing that out probably. We will probably have that man in place within the next 2 to 3 days. And so, I mean, it hadn't been completely on the back burner. It's just I wanted to get through this date today before we jumped into that and moved forward. And, you know, again, when the head coach it takes a pretty active role in the offense, which we all know I do, I felt that was another reason. You know, if it would have been a defensive coordinator position, it probably would have been something we would have had to move on a lot quicker. But, you know, my role, I will still be involved in the offense. And so we took our time a little bit on that deal. But we're close. We're very close. Anything else? Well, you guys are great. If you come tonight, you can see the video. Thank you very much.